Well, today's topic we're going to have the structure of ovary. Now you know that ovary is intra-abdominal, that is, it is present inside the abdominal cavity, and of course the body temperature can maintain the oogenesis, so there is no other scrotum or pouch like male where it is extra-abdominal. So if you look about the layers of an ovary or structure of ovary, though it is intra-abdominal, now we will see the anatomical view of an ovary. So if you look about the ovary, we have an outer important layer. We have in front of you only, I am going to teach you how to draw it. Okay, we have an important layer, and this one is called as the germinal epithelium. Even when we saw the anatomical view of seminiferous tubules or transverse section of seminiferous tubule or histological structure of seminiferous tubule, they also had a germinal epithelium. Now they are divided into two different regions. Now I am going to differentiate the region by giving dotted lines. I am going to differentiate the two different regions of an ovary. So just draw a thin line, so you will be able to get the actual level of thing that we are going to explain. So the diagram also you can learn simultaneously with me. So this one is called as cortex, or another way people say as ovarian cortex. Ovarian cortex. Next, this is called as your ovarian medulla. And the ovarian medulla is filled with a fluid. This fluid is called as the stroma, or you can say ovarian stroma. Ovarian stroma. In this, even the blood vessels also goes along with them. So we'll be having the blood vessels also, which runs here, because they also must be nourished. Even the ovary is also having some hormonal functions. So how they all can be carried? They all can be carried only through these means. So you have been having the blood vessels. These are nothing but these are your blood vessels. Okay. Now these are the basic structures. Now we're going to see what is inside the ovarian medulla or in the stroma. A small brush up of what we have seen. We have an outer layer called as the germinal epithelium, and the ovary is divided into outer cortex and inner medulla. The medulla is filled with a fluid called ovarian stroma, and here you will be having blood vessels, the artery and veins. Now here you will be having an important groups of cells. The important group of cells which I am going to mention is, first we will be having an important cell here, which is nothing but the follicular cells. This one is called as your primary follicle. The primary follicle, again, they get transformed to another group of structures. This one is called as secondary follicle. Again, they get transformed to another group of structures. This one is called as your tertiary follicle. So that means the follicles are developing. We have the primary follicle, we have the secondary follicle, and we have the tertiary follicles, and all these follicles are slowly they are undergoing the maturation stages. And this will get transformed to another group of structures which actually having a small cavity called as the Graafian cavity, or it is called as the antral cavity, enclosed with another group of structures here. I'll tell you what are these structures afterwards. What is this structure called as? This structure is called as your Graafian follicle, and this cavity is called as Graafian cavity, or people call it as antrum. The cavity is also called as antrum. Most of them know the cavity as antral cavity or antrum. That is the most common words people used to come across. Most of them they use graphene cavity also. Few of them they come across with the terms called the antral cavity also. So both of them will be the right one, whichever you want you can use. Now here we'll be having another group of structures. What are these structures? I'll just make a small point here. So the graphene follicle is enclosing some cells, right? This will get ruptured. As a result of the rupturation, what they will be releasing of? They will release you of the ovum or the ooted. So this one is called as the ruptured follicle. The follicle rupture and they release the ooted, or it is called as ovum. That means in all this we have some group of cells. What are these? These are primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, ooted, and then the ovum or the ooted is released here. Next we have another group of structures which is yellowish in color. We have a structure which will be yellowish in color. They also are a type of hormone secreting cells, only children. It's a type of hormone secreting cells. It is a type of hormone secreting cell. What is this cell called as? This one is called as corpus luteum, and they are made up of a type of protein called lutein protein. So these are the various developmental stages which I am going to talk about. So the first one, the primary follicle is enclosing a type of site. This is called primary oocyte. Similarly, secondary follicle encloses the primary oocyte. Tertiary follicle encloses something called as secondary oocyte. Graphene follicle encloses the ooted or the ovum, which is released by a process called ovulation. Then we get the corpus luteum, which is yellowish in color. So we have the following developmental stages. The following developmental stages are the primary oocyte enclosed by the primary follicle, secondary follicle enclosing the primary oocyte, tertiary follicle enclosing the secondary oocyte, graphene follicle enclosing the ooted or the ovum, and they will rupture and release the ovum, and the empty graphene follicle only, or the ruptured graphene follicle, transforms into a corpus luteum or small pressure again. It is made up of outer layer is the germinal epithelium. The ovary is divided into outer ovarian cortex, and the inner one is called as ovarian medulla. And ovarian medulla, we have the fluid filled spaces, and these fluid filled spaces are called as the ovarian stroma. Next we have the blood vessels through which blood enters in and blood goes out. For this we have arteries and veins. We don't have ovary artery, ovary veins, we won't say now, we'll say as blood vessels. Then we can see the developing stage of the egg, where we have the primary follicle transforming to secondary follicle transforming to a tertiary follicle transforming to a graphene follicle rupture and release the ovum, and the empty graphene follicle transforms to a corpus luteum. The primary follicle enclosing the primary oocyte, the stages of oogenesis, the secondary follicle enclosing the primary oocyte again, the tertiary follicle enclosing the secondary oocyte, the tertiary follicle having the secondary oocyte, graphene follicle having the ooted or the ovum, and they rupture and they release the ovum, but commonly we call it ooted. Ovum, ooted, there are some differences. How we have spermatid, spermatozoa, we have ooted and ova. And the ruptured graphene follicle transforms to a corpus luteum. This is the transverse section of ovary. Any doubt in the transverse section of ovary?
So when I came across the tertiary follicle, I read that it was enclosed by primary oocyte only was there, sir.
Which one, beta?
Tertiary follicle, sir.
That is based on the development stages. Because I am going through the NCERT where they are given that tertiary follicle enclosing the secondary oocyte. Even they enclose the primary oocyte means that may be a transition stage between the primary follicle, secondary follicle. Because we can't say that exactly the meiotic division gets complete. People used to say that ovum only is released ovulation. People used to say, but actually there is no ovum is released. Only ootid alone is released. Sometimes even secondary oocyte is also released during ovulation. But we say that on the 14th day ovum is released, right?
Yes, sir.
But when you go to Pradeep's biology or Truman's biology, they won't give you ovum because ovum means the meiotic division 2 has to be completed. But they get arrested stages here, that is called as the ootid. So what I can do is, if you want, you can keep it as primary oocyte also. But when I teach you about oogenesis, then you will be able to know what is the transitional stages. A term called follicular atresia I will be teaching you. That time, why it is not secondary oocyte, why it is primary, why it is not primary oocyte, why it is secondary oocyte, we'll be able to know. That's not a very big task. Now the grafting follicle, people say it is a secondary oocyte. Some people say if that is so, means here secondary oocyte is released. So a lot of historical experiences are there in this. So when you go for research point of view, you can have it. So for our convenience, I am keeping as primary or secondary oocyte. Both I am keeping now. When we deal about oogenesis, then you can know the transitional stage, why it is primary or secondary. That time we will learn about it. Okay, children?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other doubts, children? Okay. Now, I'll tell you what are the hormones which are released by the ovary. So, in case of testicles, we saw that only one hormone called androgen. But here we have some cells. The first one is we have something called follicular cells. What are the hormones released by the follicular cells means the follicular cells will secrete a hormone called estrogen. What is the hormone secreted by the growing follicular cells? What is the
Estrogen.
hormone? What is the hormone secreted by the follicular cells? Yes, children?
Estrogen.
Yeah, estrogen. We have another one called as corpus luteum. The corpus luteum, EUM, the corpus luteum is having two types of secretion. In the initial period of pregnancy, they will secrete a hormone called as progesterone. The progesterone used to as a hormone which is used to support pregnancy. I'll tell you how. Not now. When I'm teaching you about menstrual cycle, I'll tell you what is the role of progesterone. There is another hormone released by ovary. That hormone is called as relaxin. That is after parturition or after pregnancy. Or another way, I can say that relaxin is a hormone secreted after parturition. So I'll take you relaxin. But the role of relaxin I'll tell you when I'm dealing you about fetal ejection reflex. In the role of parturition, I'll teach you something about relaxin. Okay, children. The next topic that we're going to have now is the structure of sperm. The next topic is structure of sperm. Structure of sperm. Sperm is haploid. Children, lot of students are making lots of mistakes in the diagrammatic view of sperm. It's very simple, children. There's no tough job at all. But I don't know what is the difficulty students have here. Fix the ratio as 1:2:3. So I'm fixing this as one ratio, this as one ratio, this as one ratio. But because the sperm is the male gamete and it is having haploid nucleus, and okay, about the nucleus, about that I'll teach you. Now the headpiece, people, you make a lot of mistakes in the headpiece. People, it means it will become an abnormal sperm. I don't want an abnormal sperm, I want a normal sperm. So you must always draw a normal sperm diagram. So look up for the normal sperm diagram. First draw like this, extend like this. First draw like this and extend. Then you shade this. This is the first one you should do. Below that, you draw like this. and over here just give a nick like this. So this is how the first, you should start with this, then you have to extend here, extend it. This is the first one. Next, what you must do, next you must draw a double layer for this. Then you put some dot lines and all, and you will just put like this, a center one. Okay, this is the first one. Next what you must do, next you just start a line from here and draw like this. Bring that line below now like this. Bring this line below like this. Give a nick here, and extend it. Similarly, draw a nick like this. I'll just start from here. So next is one more nick you have to draw now. The nick you can start from here. One more nick here. Then just draw a nick like this. Okay. In this, erase these two lines and join these two lines. Next, after this, you cover this entire area. This is the plasma membrane. Cover this. This is how you must draw the structure of sperm. In this, you give a nick like this. Extend here. Extend like this. I don't have enough space. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to extend this. Okay. Now in the center, you draw a line like this, extend it like this. Then I'll just take another color, draw a line like this, extend this. From this, extend like this. From this, you extend like this. From this, you extend like this. And later, just give a shade. So this is how we have to extend. Extend like this. Extend like this. Extend like this. Okay, now, so this is how you must draw the structure of sperm. In front of you only I am drawing. It's a very simple diagram. What is this one? This one is called as acrosome, and the entire part is nothing but it is the head of a sperm. It is covered by in the outer layer called as plasma membrane. It is covered by plasma membrane, where in the front part we have some acrosome. What is the role of acrosome? Acrosome are involved in acrosomal reaction. What is acrosomal reaction? That I'll take you separately. What is acrosomal reaction? But for your understanding, it is a reaction which is taking place during fertilization. The reaction that takes place during fertilization, for that we require an acrosome. Acrosome is filled with some enzyme through which they can corrode and digest the layer of the ovum. So I'll tell you they are involved in fertilization. Next we have plasma membrane. Below the acrosome we have the nucleus. And the nucleus is haploid. So that means they may have two different options on the chromosome number. They may have 22, not a pair, 22 autosome plus X, or they may have 22 autosome plus Y. If the sperm carrying X fertilizes an ovum, it results in female. If a sperm carrying Y chromosome fertilizes an ova, it results, ovum, it results in male. Next, this is nothing but your middle piece. This is your neck. This one is your middle piece. In this, you have the centriole, and this one is called as your mitochondria. So this one is called as your mitochondria. The mitochondria gives energy in the form of ATP, which is one of the energy source for the tail to swim. For the tail to swim. In order to enhance the fertility, there is actually a concept we are going to talk about. The concept is 60% of the ejaculate must have normal shape and morphology. And I'm telling you, students are drawing an abnormal sperm. This is a normal sperm you must draw. 1:2:3. That is the concept you must take here. And 40% of the sperm, they must show vigorous, progressive motility. And millions of sperms are released. Among them, 60% of them have a normal shape and size. 40% of them should have a vigorous motility. If that is the concept, means then definitely it is actually a healthy sperm. So during ejaculate, about 200 to 300 million sperms are there. In that, we'll take only a microliter, and when we observe in the microscope by a lab technician, 60% of them must have a normal shape and morphology. 40% must have a vigorous motility for a normal fertilizing capacity. A small brush-up, outer layer is made up of plasma membrane, divided into head, neck and the middle piece, and the fourth option is the tail. Head is having acrosome, involved in acrosomal reaction, which is very much essential for fertilization. How it occurs we can see afterwards. Next we have the nucleus, which is having which is a haploid, which may have 22 autosome plus 1 X chromosome. If they go and fertilize an ovum, results in female. A sperm carrying Y chromosome fertilizes an ova, it results in male. Next we have a centriole, proximal and distal centriole, which runs along the tail. And we have mitochondria, which gives energy source for the sperm to wriggle and which helps in the progressive motility. And tail helps in moving the sperm forward, that is for the motility. And a normal ejaculate, 200 to 300 million sperms are there. In that, 60% of them must have a normal shape and morphology. 40% must have a vigorous motility. This is the structure of sperm. Any doubt in structure of sperm? Any doubt in structure of sperm?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So there's no doubt, children. So this topic for today, it's a very simple topic, and it is a very simple topic which needs some regularly. So when you do your revision regularly, then the topic will be very easy for you. Since yesterday my system got crashed, I'm not able to upload the video of structure of female reproductive organ, the mammary gland and the external genitalia, which I'll be doing it and posting you all today. So thank you.